Hello, nice to see you on my channel, Hearts and Shadows. Enjoy watching.
Charlotte and Gabriel are a couple who seem to have everything going for them. They had been married for years, built a life together, and moved through their daily routines like any other couple. They're part of a close-knit group of friends who have been hanging out for years. Every weekend, one of them takes a turn hosting, making sure everyone gets a chance to bring people together. It's their way of staying connected, even when life gets busy. Some of them go way back to college, and others met through work or mutual friends. But over time, they've all become like an extended family. These gatherings are more than just social events. They drink, eat, and joke around. For some, it's about unwinding after a long, stressful week. For others, it's a way to maintain friendships that would have otherwise faded away. And for a few, it's even an opportunity to make business connections. Deals have been struck over backyard barbecue plates, partnerships have been formed over casual conversations by the pool, and introductions to new opportunities have happened between sips of wine. In a way, it's networking without the awkward small talk, just friends helping each other out. Gabriel and Charlotte are regulars at these get-togethers. They show up, they blend in, and they know everyone well enough to be comfortable. And that's exactly where things went wrong. Charlotte had no idea that one offhand comment, said in the middle of casual chatter, would set off a chain reaction that she wouldn't be able to stop. At one corner, a few guests got into a debate about relationships, and, as these things often do, the topic of cheating came up. Maybe it was because of some celebrity scandal making rounds on social media, or someone had a real-life story to share. Either way, people had opinions, and they weren't afraid to share them. Some were firm. Cheating was a deal-breaker, no excuses. Others took a more life-is-complicated stance, arguing that not all affairs were black and white. The conversation shifted between laughter and serious moments, but overall, it still had the tone of a lighthearted debate. That was until Charlotte decided to speak up. "Cheating is not always bad," she said, her tone casual, but with just enough weight to make people pause. "People shouldn't be so quick to judge those who cheat." Her words hung in the air for a second before she laughed and added, "Besides, even if I were cheating, my husband would never know." The reaction in the group was mixed. A couple of people chuckled, though it wasn't clear if they actually found it funny or were just laughing to ease the tension. Some shifted in their seats, glancing at Gabriel to see his reaction. A few even exchanged awkward looks, as if silently asking each other, "Did she really just say that?" For Gabriel, though, he didn't hear it as just a joke. It was like an old wound had been ripped open without warning. He didn't say anything at first. He just sat there, with his mind suddenly racing in 100 different directions. For everyone else, it might have been an offhand comment, something to laugh about and move on from. But for him, it was different. It dragged him back to a place he hadn't visited in years, a time when love had blindsided him. When he saw the opportunity, he reached for Charlotte's arm and pulled her a few steps away from the group. In this small, isolated moment, "Why would you say something like that?" he asked, looking her directly in the eyes. "Are you cheating?" he queried. He needed to understand why she would say something so reckless. Charlotte, however, didn't meet his intensity with concern. She didn't reach for his hand or try to reassure him. Instead, she scoffed. "Oh, come on, Gabriel. Don't be ridiculous. I was just playing devil's advocate." There was no effort to ease his mind. She said it like he was the one creating a problem out of thin air. "You're overreacting. Grow up." Her voice was clipped, dismissive, like she was irritated by even having to explain herself, as if his feelings weren't worth addressing at all. For a moment, Gabriel just stood there, absorbing her reaction. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Instead of pushing further, he simply turned and walked away, leaving her standing there. As he moved through the party, weaving past groups of laughing friends, his mind refused to let it go. Without saying a word to anyone, Gabriel heads home. He didn't even remember saying goodbye to anyone at the party. He just knew he had to get out of there, before he said something he couldn't take back. He was lost in thoughts as he drives. Was she trying to test him? Or, worse, was she telling the truth? He didn't know, and that uncertainty made him feel sick. One thing was clear, though. He felt humiliated. A couple of hours later, after he got home, he heard the front door swing open. Charlotte didn't come in quietly. She slammed her purse on the counter, her anger filling up the room before she even spoke. "How dare you leave me like that?" she snapped, her voice sharp with irritation. "You embarrassed me in front of everyone," but Gabriel just sat there, silent. He just watched her. The next few days were filled with cold shoulders and heavy silences. Charlotte barely spoke to him, moving around the house like he didn't exist. If she did acknowledge him, it was with short and clipped sentences, as if she was the one carrying a burden. It was clear she expected him to apologize, to admit that he overreacted and make things go back to normal. But Gabriel didn't see this as an overreaction. He saw the way she ignored his feelings as a complete lack of remorse. She didn't care why he was hurt. And that realization stung more than anything. He had expected at least some level of understanding from her, some sign that she realized she had crossed a line. No moment where she softened and said, "I didn't mean it like that, let's talk." No effort to clear the air to check if he was okay. Instead, she carried on as if his emotions were an inconvenience. He knew this wasn't only about a joke. It was about respect, or rather, the lack of it. After days of walking around the house and ignoring Gabriel, she suddenly decided it was time to fix things. Not with an apology, not with any real acknowledgement of what she had done, but by acting like nothing ever happened. One quiet evening, Gabriel was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone, just trying to unwind. That's when Charlotte walked in, casually sat beside him, and started talking like they were just another happy couple. Gabriel barely heard the words because all he could focus on was how effortlessly she was trying to brush everything under the rug. She really thought this was something they could just move past, that all she had to do was break the silence, and things would go back to normal. As if now it was time to get over it. Gabriel let her talk for a few seconds, watching her closely. Then he to her to save your energy for the divorce papers. Charlotte's face went blank. It took a moment for the words to fully register, and when they did, her whole body tensed. She let out a nervous laugh, as if waiting for him to say he was joking. When that didn't happen, her expression shifted with confusion. Wait, what? She was staring at him now, searching his face, waiting for some kind of explanation. But Gabriel didn't give her one. He had said everything he needed to say. He stood up and walked away, leaving her sitting there, completely speechless. Later that night, Charlotte walked into Gabriel's home office. The room was dimly lit, just his desk lamp casting a warm glow over a pile of neatly stacked papers. He didn't look up. He just sat there, flipping through documents. But Charlotte wasn't here to be ignored. She took a deep breath, crossing her arms as if she was bracing herself, and said, "Are you really going to throw our marriage away over a joke?" She expected him to snap out of whatever mood he was in, to realize that all of this was ridiculous, that he was taking things way too far. Gabriel finally put the papers down and looked at her. "Was it really just a joke?" he asked, his voice steady, unreadable. "Or were you telling on yourself?" For the first time, Charlotte didn't have a quick comeback. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. She hadn't expected him to question her like that, hadn't thought that one offhand comment at a party would make him look at her like she was a stranger. She shook her head. "Oh, come on, Gabe," she muttered, trying to keep her voice calm. "You know I didn't mean it like that." But he wasn't letting her off easy. "You didn't just say it, Charlotte. You got defensive when I asked you about it. You shut me down, made me feel like I was crazy for even asking." His voice wasn't loud, but there was weight behind every word. "It's not just about what you said. It's how you handled it afterward." Charlotte's arms dropped to her sides. She could feel her chest tightening. She had assumed he was just being sensitive, that he'd cool off and move on. She hadn't realized that, in his mind, this wasn't about a joke anymore. It was about respect. Or rather, the fact that she had completely dismissed his feelings as if they didn't matter. For the first time since this all started, she felt the first real pang of fear. Gabriel was dead serious. A few days later, Charlotte sat at the dining table scrolling through her phone when she heard a knock at the door. She wasn't expecting anyone, but when she opened it, a man in a neat suit stood there, holding a large envelope. "Mrs. Charlotte?" he asked, his tone professional but impersonal. She nodded, confused. Without hesitation, he handed her the envelope. "You've been served." For a second, she just stood there, staring at the papers in her hands as if they weren't real. As she read the bold letters at the top, petition for divorce, her mind raced. Gabriel had actually gone through with it. Up until now, she thought he was just sulking, that he would eventually come to his senses and let it go. But now, there was no mistaking it. He was serious. This wasn't just an argument anymore. He wanted out. Panic set in. She grabbed her phone and started calling their mutual friends, one by one, hoping someone could knock some sense into him. The first person she called was her best friend, Maya. "Maya, you won't believe this. Gabriel actually filed for divorce over that stupid joke." Her voice was frantic, desperate. Maya sighed on the other end, hesitant. "Charlotte, I gotta be honest, I kinda see why he's upset." Charlotte's frustration boiled over. "Are you serious? It was a joke. He's acting like I actually cheated on him." But Maya wasn't budging. "Look, I think the statement was extra. Did you even try to reassure him?" Charlotte scoffed and hung up, unwilling to hear any more. She tried calling his husband's best friend, hoping for a different response. "Lucas, you gotta talk to Gabriel," she pleaded. "He's overreacting." But Lucas wasn't jumping to her defense either. "Charlotte, I don't think he is. He told me why he took it so personally. That joke hit him in a place you don't understand." That's when it started to sink in. She had been so focused on proving she was right that she never stopped to consider why Gabriel reacted the way he did. And now, he wasn't just upset, he was done. You know, some wounds never really heal. They just sit there, buried under years of distraction, waiting for the right moment to remind you they still exist. That's exactly what happened to Gabriel. When Charlotte made that joke at the party, it wasn't just words to him. It was a trigger. One that yanked him right back to a time in his life he had worked so hard to move past. Gabriel wasn't always this guarded. Back when he was younger, he was the kind of guy who loved with his whole heart. He believed and loved the way a kid believes in magic, pure, real, and forever. And back then, he thought he had found forever with his first girlfriend. She wasn't just someone he dated. She was his world. His first real love, the kind that makes you think about a future together, about growing old side by side. He trusted her completely. He never doubted her, never questioned where she was or who she was with. To him, love was simple. You give your heart to someone, and they take care of it. But life isn't that simple. He didn't see the signs. The late replies, the sudden changes in her mood, the way she started pulling away little by little. He ignored it all, because he didn't want to believe something was wrong. And then one day, she sat him down and told him, "I want to break up. I'm tired of cheating on you." Just like that, the person he loved the most admitted that she had been betraying him all along. And the worst part? She wasn't even apologetic. She was just done, as if their relationship had been nothing more than an inconvenience to her. Gabriel didn't know how to react. He couldn't understand how someone could say something so cruel, so casually. She had been cheating the whole time, and he had been too blind, or maybe too trusting, to see it. That kind of betrayal doesn't just hurt, it changes you. After she left, Gabriel wasn't the same. For years, he kept people at arm's length, afraid of ever feeling that kind of pain again. He didn't date seriously. He didn't open up to anyone. And the idea of trusting another woman? It felt impossible. But time has a way of making you forget how badly something hurt. Eventually, Gabriel convinced himself that he had healed, that what happened was just part of growing up, that not everyone would betray him the way she did. And when he met Charlotte, something about her made him want to believe in love again. She came into his life through family, so she felt safe, like someone he could trust. She was funny, smart, confident. She made him laugh. And slowly, he let his guard down. He allowed himself to believe that she was different, that he wouldn't have to worry about history repeating itself. Then came that night at the party. That one joke. The moment she made that statement, something inside him snapped. Now, at this point, Charlotte is desperate. She doesn't want the marriage to end. She's trying to sit Gabriel down and talk. She even tries acting like things are normal, like if she just ignores the issue long enough, he'll come around. But Gabriel is done. He's not interested in long conversations or emotional apologies. In his mind, the damage is already done. Charlotte thought he was bluffing, but seeing those documents makes it clear. She has to face the reality that a single moment, a single careless joke, has cost her her marriage. So, what can we learn from this? First, words matter. People say things all the time without thinking, but that doesn't mean those words don't have consequences. A joke might just be a joke to you, but to someone else, it could be the thing that breaks everything. Second, disrespect cuts deeper than the mistake itself. Maybe if Charlotte had reacted differently, if she had taken a second to see how hurt Gabriel was and reassured him instead of mocking him, things might have turned out differently. But once you show someone that their feelings don't matter to you, it's hard to come back from that. And finally, past wounds don't always heal completely. You might think you've moved on from something, but all it takes is one wrong moment to bring it all back. Gabriel didn't even realize how much that old betrayal still affected him until Charlotte's words hit him like a slap to the face. That's why it's important to be careful with people's past pain. You never know what might trigger something that can't be undone.